Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor. I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. I've just got back from Hannah's graduation, and the first few things that I've been seeing floating around the internet are all about racism and Pewdiepie and all that kind of thing. So of course that's what I'm going to have to take a look at, right? And these situations, man, they're they get so big and so blown up and not necessarily out of context, but they get pulled in so many different directions and read into in so many different ways that it really makes things so difficult. It's just so pointless in some regards. But anyway, let's get into this. So basically, if you haven't already heard, PewDiePie was streaming Player Unknown's Battleground at some point over the last couple of days. I'm not entirely sure when. I've seen the snippet, like the 3-4 minute snippet around the comment that he made. But as a result, I haven't seen the whole video. I don't know exactly when it was from start to finish, as it were, the full stream. But as a result, he's he's playing the game. He's wrapped up in the game, and he's getting shot. And he comes out and decides to kind of throw out the word, the N bomb, the racial N bomb, in as straightforward and flat way as possible. And then he tries to correct himself. He goes to arsehole, and he seems to realize what he said, and he kind of laughs kind of nervously and stuff like that. Tries to backpedal a little bit, but at the same time, then that's where it all starts to spiral out of control and kind of roll out into the world at large. And so let's talk about the reactions first, because then we can get into the rest of it. So you obviously had people going, "Oh, well, it's PewDiePie. It's just him doing what he does. This is a slip or whatever else," and so they're excusing him just based on who he is, which I don't think is the right course of action, because it's a stupid fucking thing to say, and even if it was a slip, then am I going to suggest that I know enough about his life to know what he says all the time? No, not in the slightest. But is it just a stupid thing to let slip? Then yes, certainly. The people who are then a little bit further in, who are like, yeah, it was a stupid thing to say, but then again, this is one of the guys with the largest continuous audiences paying attention to his life at all times through one form of social media or another form of social media, or the cameras that he trains on himself, either in his kind of let's play videos or in his other videos or in streams. Then well, what would you do if you had that huge continuous audience watching you the entire time? Eventually you're going to slip up. Eventually something's going to come out that you didn't mean that way, or you didn't mean to say, you didn't mean to let slip, something dropped out of your head, and so on and so forth. It's something came out the wrong way. And granted, I don't necessarily think that is also the case here, but also, yeah, he's built himself up. And where I've said before in other videos about kind of younger people without an awful lot of experience, then suddenly getting everything, and not having that appreciation, not having those investments in things, they've just had it handed to them, and as a result, it's as worthless to them as not getting it at all. It's just a thing to be used up. I feel like PewDiePie was a young man that has escalated very, very quickly to substantial heights. And whilst I think he has done better than many others, especially considering he is one of the largest on the platform, and he's almost a household name now, the fact that he grew very, very quickly, as many others have as well. And he has ended up at the top, sat there, kind of with more of an appreciation, I would say. He's been more intelligent about it, but he's still ended up there, and like being aware of that is one thing, and keeping a monitor on yourself in line with that is something completely different. So, for those people who are going, well, yeah, this guy's got this 50 million person potential audience, kind of keeping an eye on what he's doing, and so when he makes a slip, more people than possibly anyone else in history, just in his normal life, are going to be aware of it. Whether it's part of his professional stuff, whether it's part of whatever else, it's something that with individuals like him, it's likely to turn up in this big way. And so, as a result, you've got those individuals, and then you've got the people on the other side who are basically going, look, it wasn't necessarily like a really heartfelt racist thing to say, but it was really stupid, and he needs to get his ass kicked around for saying stupid shit, because otherwise, how's he going to learn? How's he going to reel that in when he shouldn't be saying that stuff? And in that regard, yeah, okay, I'd agree with that one. That's probably where I sit for the most part. I think it's maybe more of a nuanced issue in regards to PewDiePie, Felix himself. But again, it's like, we don't, as much as he shows us an awful lot and he's got this huge audience following his life, we still don't know every moment of it. We still don't know everything that's going on. And so it's hard to kind of bring this all into kind of perspective and see it all for what it really is, and yet then, of course, you've got the extremes where people are either going, he's a racist, boo, or in a smaller number of cases, he's a racist, yay. And so with those individuals, I don't think he is. I don't think it would make sense, to say that he is necessarily. Does he do stupid stuff? Yes. Does he stick his foot in his mouth, both in terms of jokes that fall flat and in terms of just stuff that he says? Yes, but then again, so does everyone else. The only reason that it's being highlighted for him so much is just because he's such a big figure. So, in regards to Felix, I think, yes, does he deserve the ire of people for kind of coming out with this? Yes, absolutely, because it was a stupid fucking thing to say. But does he kind of deserve to either be kind of instantly struck down as some kind of racist, or kind of variably kind of just given a free pass on things? No. You have to be accountable for your actions. His actions in this case include letting this word out, whether for whatever reason. I'm not going to even try and guess what was going through his head, or what he does in his personal life that would lead to this. But he being held accountable, being owning up to it as well, and looking at the fallout. That's how people grow. That's how people develop. Do I think that this would be an end to him? No, not in the slightest. He's already too big for that. Do I feel that the way that he grows out of this could potentially both help or harm him, depending on how he goes about it? Again, yes, absolutely, and quite rightly so. The thing is, then you got the other fallouts of this, and this is where I'm sat here going, what? Why? The fuck? Because you've got people going, this is how toxic the gaming sphere is. This is how terrible these things are in the grand scheme of things. Just because he's let it slip, just because he's let his professional hat, his mask disappear for a moment, even though I don't really think Felix wears all that much of a mask. He might exaggerate some of himself sometimes, but when he's talking, the same with an awful lot of other kind of gaming YouTubers. I don't think they need to hide stuff because they've had this large community gather around them purely for being them. And the less of the exaggeration and over the top that they've gone with, the easier and more accessible they have become for people. As with Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, who have grown and grown and grown just mostly by being themselves and kind of dialing down the big explosive personalities that they were before, where it seemed a bit fake, a bit too screamy and whatever else. Now that both of them have matured and dialed that down a bit, they're growing more and they're doing more and they're seeing more kind of feedback from it as well. So it's going to be an interesting set of things to watch as this progresses, but the people who are just going, oh, it's all toxic, it's all terrible, well, again, then I would say we'll take a look at the kind of other YouTubers in that space, take a look at the other people who are playing and doing things and whatever else. It's not really a thing that stands up under examination. One person isn't representative of everybody, which leads me on to the next thing that people have been talking about, which is, oh, well, he's such a big name, he's one of the biggest names on the platform, if not the biggest by a long shot, and so he's he's going to bring all of us down, he's going to drag us back down, it's going to be kind of Adpocalypse 2.0, it's going to ruin kind of gaming videos more so than YouTube and whatever else already have, it's going to cause all of these problems. And to that, potentially, yes. Are the people who make those decisions stupid enough to do those things? Absolutely. We've already seen the Adpocalypse. We've already seen YouTube making daft changes. We've already seen kind of all of the silly bollocks floating around this kind of area. So yeah, are they daft enough to do that? Absolutely. If they did it, then would there be a huge backlash? Of course there would. Would things normalise further down the line? Maybe. Would it kill off people in the short term? Probably. And so, that's obviously a problem, considering that, yes, he potentially is the largest on the platform and so on and so forth, but also he is very much an outlier. He's not representative. Even like the next few closest people to him in terms of subscribers and things like that are still a fair way off. And so he's, within the gaming side of things. And so it's like you might have gaming YouTubers like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, whoever else, with millions of subscribers, but they're barely scratching the underside of where Pewdiepie has already gone, of the boat that he's already taken. And so do I feel that this is going that this whole thing with him now is going to drag that in a different direction? I mean, it could do, but I don't think it will. Purely because, again, he's so much of an outlier. He's so much bigger. He sits very much outside of an awful lot of things that it's going to. I don't know. I think it'd be hard for them to justify doing it when no one else comes near him. Yeah. Like, if they actually sat down and looked at the numbers to justify what they were doing, you'd have PewDiePie all the way up here, and then you'd have everyone else down here, even the biggest ones down here. And so justifying, kind of crucifying all of that potential income through these people just because of this one up the top, I don't see them doing that, because even if they're stupid, they're still more greedy than they are anything else. But then we're kind of getting on to the last couple of things, and the thing that really kind of irked me about this entire thing was you had one of the developers, I think his name's Shaun Vanaman or something like that, from from the guys that made Firewatch, from the game developers that made Firewatch, coming in and saying, well, we're going to DMCA his videos and we're going to encourage others to do the same, and we're just going to attack this one person. And it's like, regardless of whether of where you stand on whether or not Let's Plays are kind of fair use or not, or whatever else. I mean, you know, the whether you're suggesting that you can provide the commentary or a face cam or whatever else can provide a substantial kind of transformative element to what's going on. You know, I would like to think that to one extent or another, yes, we can with those kind of things. You know, from my videos, from videos that I enjoy watching. You know, I'm going to get a different experience from, say, for instance, I don't know, Markiplier or Jacksepticeye, one of the ones that I've already mentioned, or even Pewdiepie. You know, I'm going to get a much different experience from watching them play a game than me playing a game personally. You know, I've said before in some of my Subnautica videos that one of the main reasons I decided to get hold of that game and get into that game and start playing it, and then start also going, do you know what, this is a great analogy for some of the coaching and planning stuff that I talk about. And I love gaming, and it's a thing that I can transfer onto the channel, and we can discuss around it, and we can work with this as an analogy, you know. So yeah, I'll start doing those videos too. You know, one of the things that led me into that was watching Jack and Mark, and I was sat there going, we can do better. I can do better. Me and Hannah sat next to me talking about stuff as we do it can do better. You know, we can build better, we can be more organised, we can go in and try and find more stuff, you know, and so as a result, you know, now, yeah, maybe we are, maybe we aren't, but again, someone watching Markiplier play Subnautica and kind of get through into where he's going and all the rest of it is going to have a very different experience to watching me play, where I'm talking about planning through it, where I'm talking about kind of working stuff out as we go, where I'm talking about kind of delving into stuff, and where at times there have been big jumps in some of the stuff that I've been doing simply because of technical failures that I've had, because my rig is probably far less substantial than his, although saying that, even Markiplier had technical problems not so long ago with Subnautica. So, you know, there's a few different things flying around, but it all adds up to different experiences, and all off the same thing, sure, but they're still different experiences. They're still running in different directions, you know. And so I would say that there is a case there for substantial kind of grounding within fair use, but obviously it's a thing that's kind of up in the air, especially when, you know, you've got so many different types of games, so many different genres of game. You've got esports, you've got walking simulators that are you've got walking simulators that are entirely story based, and you've got survival games where you can build your own creations in amazing and fascinating ways, the same way that Minecraft blew up on YouTube for a very long time before gaming got squashed for the first time. You know, where I'm sat there in Conan Exiles talking about planning, talking about thinking things through, talking about using the tool set that we've got at our disposal to build stuff, and then actually going out and doing it with the purge-proof bases that I've been looking at, with the testing that I've been doing. You know, all of those things add up to, again, you know, a different experience than someone who's just going, oh, let's take a look at the game on the official servers and prat around with people. Let's go and jump into a PvP server and see what we can manage there. Let's see what the role-playing servers are like. You know, there's going to be a lot more differentiation between content there, purely based on kind of what that person has decided to do with it, the way that they've taken it. You know, the number of times that I've been glad that someone has played a game because I've not been able to get hold of it, you know, then that's fine. I'm only going to get their experience playing through the game. But does that mean that then at some point in the future, I might not get hold of that game, play through it, and have an entirely different experience? Or maybe not entirely different, but I'll pick up on things that they didn't. Or because I've already watched through the first time, I'm then going to have my experience enriched afterwards. You know, there are transformative qualities to the Let's Play kind of thing. But also, beside that being as it is, first off, in regards to Firewatch specifically, as has been highlighted by many people on their website, they say yes, you can stream this, you can make videos on it, you can do it all, and you can monetize it. We love that. That's fine. But now apparently, because they don't like, or at least one person doesn't like PewDiePie and the things that he has said and done, he's exempt from that when it was given to everybody. It wasn't a contract, it was just a pure, flat, given permission, which seems really off to me, first off. And secondly, on a platform already played with false DMCA claims, where we've had, I don't know, like the H3H3 case, where you had their videos getting DMCA'd, and then it eventually boiled all the way up to a court case where they quite recently won it against the person that was trying to crap all over them and suppress them just because he didn't like what they said. There's already a precedent set there to a degree, which could then be picked up and argued by PewDiePie if it hit the legal side of things, whereby he can go, well, just because they're only doing this to me because they didn't like what I said. But as with the previous case of H3H3's situation, it's the same. They're only coming out against me because they don't like what I say. But if that's the case, how are they going to police every single other person that does this? YouTube can't even do that. How are they going to? And so, I don't feel like the developer is being particularly responsible here. I feel like it's almost a grab for attention, considering that the incident itself didn't come from their game, is in no way connected to their game, as Firewatch is very much a kind of story-driven walking simulator, whilst PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is a very is entirely PvP oriented, could become esports to one extent or another, depending on how it was organized and how it was run, and as a result, it's a case of there's not really much to compare, not really much to link. It just seems to be that this guy's got a chip on his shoulder in regards to PewDiePie, and this was the straw that broke the camel's overly sensitive back. And so, do I think that him tweeting and flying off and making DMCA claims is at all useful, helpful, or intelligent? Not in the slightest. I think it's a cry for attention for someone who was worried about being forgotten, who's just had their feelings hurt and so has to express it to the world. Bringing up stuff around their game when it's in no way connected to the situation, bar the person who's gone through it. It doesn't help anything. The kind of DMCAing or misuse of DMCAs on a platform that's already played with it only adds to the problems that keep YouTube at such an ineffective and potentially kind of crumbling platform that's kind of trying to repair itself as fast as it's collapsing, but isn't necessarily managing it all the time, and that keeps being prompted to do stupid shit by situations like this. It's not a helpful thing at all. And you would hope, considering he's going, we love streamers are great, and on the website they're saying, yeah, anyone can stream whatever. It really stands out to me that this isn't helpful. If you're saying that you love streamers, if you're saying that you want to support them, if you're saying that your game is good for people to do that with, and they don't mind you monetizing it and all that kind of thing, then kicking up such a fuss around this, you're only driving people away from you, from your product, from your attitude. And you're harming the people that you're suggesting that you're actually helping. It's the kind of condescending, we know best attitude that I've seen in so many developers that really pisses me off. It's one of the things that really pissed me off about some of the stuff that's come out of Blizzard over the last few years, Not in regards to some of their more recent titles, but in regards to their big headliner, World of Warcraft. As much as I don't like the game anyway, the attitude pisses me off. The devs at ArenaNet more recently, with the shit that they've been coming out with and the silly bollocks that they've been spouting for the last 2-3 years. It's this condescending, we know best attitude when they're there's a demonstrable kind of element of them being wrong in maybe not every instance, but in most of the instances that they're bringing up. And that's why I've got other videos going into and things that I'm working on to discuss those kind of things. But it's like this condescending attitude from these people bugs me, and that's the thing that really irked me about the whole thing. A random dude on the internet being stupid and saying a stupid fucking thing happens every day, millions of times every day. Yeah. The outcry of people against him, again, kind of expected, but as I've said in other videos, we're kind of, to one degree or another, living in a bit of an outrage culture, and so the sudden upturn of people who want to cry and yell and scream, that happens a lot anyway. Do I think he should be held accountable, and does it matter the way that he grows beyond this into the future? Yes, absolutely. Should it impact the rest of the platform and other people like him? I fucking hope not, because if it does, then it's even stupider than I thought these people were in the first place. But in regards to the kind of entire environment, the gaming sphere, the gaming industry, the interactive elements of the gaming industry, which includes YouTube, Let's Play, streaming, do the comments from the developer and the actions that he seems to be taking, or they seem to be taking, do they really piss me off? Yes, quite frankly, because again, it's this one person taking on this role of supposed authority over everything when the situation was barely connected to them at all. They have no real interaction with the individual, and the situation has already been addressed en masse by so many other people who are more invested in the specific situation or have a greater acknowledgement of the individual, be they either the audience that are actually watching his PewDiePie's videos, or the other YouTubers that have come out in one way or the other about it, going, it was a stupid fucking thing to say, but he's not that bad. But he does need a kick up the arse for this, But anyway, that's that mess discussed. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments. Please let me know. Because, again, it's the audiences that make and break these kind of situations. If the audience go, nope, final straw, sorry, Pewds, the 50 million have spoken, we're done, then fine, that's the way it should happen, right? It should be the invested audiences and the people that are watching him, the people that are actually, helping him go do whatever he's doing, those are the people that make or break him. If they stand behind him, then it doesn't matter if he said this, as long as he comes out the other side of it, maybe acknowledging his error. If those 50 million stand behind him, then no one's going to touch him. He's still going to be fine. He's still got the support of kind of a population larger than some small countries. Compared to the UK, the UK is 64.1 million. He's 50 million or over 50 million subscribers. He's got a fan base almost the same size as the country in which I live. People-wise, and so if they stand behind him, he's going to be absolutely fine. If they don't, though, then yeah, that's when he's going to have to kind of buckle to pressure and rework himself in some way to maybe try and continue what he's doing. That's what matters, right? So, I'd love to know what you guys think. Was this the final straw for you? Was it just a stupid thing to say? He needs to kick up the arse, but otherwise, people say stupid shit all the time, whatever. That's kind of where I sit. Or is it a case of, well, yeah, people say stupid shit all the time. Why is this a big thing to fuss about? Just let it go. You know, and then again, the developer comments and the DMCAing and all that silly shit. You know, what's your opinion on that? Because that's the kind of stuff that really gets kind of under my skin, considering that I see gaming as such a really great medium that can be used for learning, that can be used for personal development, that can be used for things as far removed as kind of keyhole surgery or therapy or all manner of other different kinds of things, you know. And yet it's something that keeps cropping up, this attitude from developers and the kind of gaming establishment that sway things down and kind of pull the rest of everything else down with them, just because they seem to put themselves in this high position that they don't really have. But anyway, as said, I'd love to know what you guys think. Please let me know down in the comments, and otherwise I will see you in the video tomorrow. Thank you very much. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow. Take care.